Do you believe in yourself? The most powerful force in the world is one of self-belief. I mean, think about it. Everything that has been created is because someone thought or believed they could do it. Think about the things that you've accomplished. You believed you could do it. People that succeed believe they're gonna succeed. They live each day as if they've already succeeded. You know, if our self-belief is not functioning properly, it has to do a lot with how we see ourselves. You know, it also helps for us to have a healthy self-image. A healthy self-image makes it a lot easier because we are properly feeding the mind and it's readily able to believe in something. You know, as humans, we have a tendency to believe in others a lot more than we believe in ourselves. You know, we drive our vehicles that was put together by others. We drive on roads with the belief that it was put together by the best engineers. We fly on an airplane with the belief that the mechanics have checked and double-checked everything before our flight. We believe in others when they tell us we can count on them to do something. So if we believe in others, we need to learn how to believe in ourselves. We have to stop replaying all of the bad things that were ever done or said to us. When we do this, and our experiences were not so pleasant, it has a tendency to work on our belief in self. We have actually allowed others to impose limitations on us. You know, it becomes real hard or almost impossible to act in opposition to our self-belief or self-esteem. You know, I remember when I played football. In high school, the most I had ever lifted in the weight room was about 125 pounds. And that was a set of weights that I went bought from one of the local retailers. When I got to the University of Houston, the warm-up weight was 135 pounds. And one day, one of the strength and conditioning coaches, which happened to be a female, laughed at me because this is what I was working out with. She told me that she couldn't believe I was only lifting 135 pounds. I explained to her that I had never lifted that much, even at that point in my life. You know, one day some of the guys, some of my teammates were with me, and they added 2 extra 45-pound plates to the bar when I got ready to lift. I lifted it with no problem. Well, guess what happened? 220 pounds was my new self-imposed belief or limitation. One day a couple of teammates and I went to work out, and in the beginning I would have them remove the extra weight when I lifted. Well, guess what happened? One time they told me they had removed the extra plates, but they hadn't. I had lifted the new weight with no problem, thanks to a couple of teammates who knew I had imposed limitations on myself. If we are to control our futures, we must understand our own self-belief system. We need to know if our current beliefs have been hindering us or helping us. If they have been hindering us, we have to decide if we want to keep following that pattern of behavior or if we want to improve. Our minds have been conditioned our entire life to remind us of our limitations and limited belief in self. We get told no countless times growing up. We get told we are stupid, we'll never amount to anything. Or like my high school economics teacher told me, she told me that I would never be better than a D student in college because I challenged the curriculum too much. What she didn't know was that I was regularly going to the library checking out books on the very subject she was teaching me. I had been for years, even before I took her class in government and economics. She imposed something on me that I didn't believe myself. I was what they call a walk-on athlete at the University of Houston. I didn't know that they cut players from the team at the college level because all of the years I had played from Little League all the way through high school, it was an open sport. I went to visit my old high school, and my former head coach told me that he heard I had made the team at the University of Houston. And I responded, I didn't know I was supposed to. You know, our minds have stored all of that negative imposed thought process that others have given us. In order to improve and create a new belief about ourselves, we need to feed our minds new information. If everything that is fed into our minds has been negative, we have to work really hard to change it, because it takes a minimum 16 positives to dilute one negative. And that just shows you the power of negative. It's amazing how the people that are closest to us are the ones who tell us most of our limitations. When we receive those imposed limitations, it only has one course that it can take. It creates a negative belief in self, because we start to accept all of that thought process. It becomes really hard to change that image of self when all we normally receive has been designed to keep us in a life or level of mediocrity. We constantly get fed mediocrity through our television sets. When our belief system sees something as easy, our level of confidence rises to the task. When our belief system or our belief in self is low, we tend to see every task as a challenge or difficult. I mean, if the task is too easy, you might need to question the task. You need a little challenge in your life. The way our bodies and minds are wired, the body will not let us do something that it feels will harm us. You know, you've probably heard the phrase fight or flight. With this knowledge and awareness, it becomes imperative that we do a better job of controlling the input into our minds. A positive self-belief tends to occur when the mind has more emotionally positive information than negative emotional information. Our self-belief determines if we fail or succeed. We can control the information that our brain receives. We cannot control what comes out of someone else's mouth, but we can control if we will listen to it for any length of time, or if we will remove ourselves from the conversation. If someone is telling offensive jokes, we don't have to sit around and listen. We can control all of the electronic input. You know, right now, there's a commercial on TV where the mother comes home and she asks her son if they want to help bring in the groceries. One son responds, maybe. Then she has to bribe them to help. And you know, maybe I'm the only one that sees a problem with that. The reason I brought that up is how many of your kids are watching that very commercial and actually think they have power in your house. Look at the thought process being projected. We have to make sure we are not creating our own negatives in our lives. Don't beat up on self, because enough of other people already do that on a daily basis. If you continue to believe, especially from your previous life experiences, that when you attempt something that you will fail, how strong is your confidence in yourself? You'll probably set a goal, but the entire time you are believing it won't happen for you. You can't even think it might happen. You have to believe it will happen without a doubt. Our subconscious mind has a self-preservation mechanism. It wants to protect us from pain. So if it can't stop us from setting a goal, it will work to stop us from pursuing it, because it is protecting us from pain or disappointment. Sometimes negative limitations from others can actually work for you in a positive direction. In order to increase our belief system, we have to find something that really motivates us. We have to train our brain just like we train everything else. Our brain has a fight or flight mechanism in it. We have to exercise the brain just like we exercise our heart muscle and our other body parts. Remember the saying, use it or lose it? As we encounter people on a daily basis, it becomes obvious that some have already lost it. We have to condition our minds to believe that we will accomplish, even in spite of our mind protecting us. We should expect to win. We should expect to succeed. We must tell ourselves that we are going to win. You know, for me personally, I don't like participation awards. You know, those awards where Everybody gets something for participating. And, as kids and sometimes even adults, everybody gets something for participating. And a lot of times the kids grow up thinking life is like that they're supposed to get rewarded for participating. For me personally, I want to win. I remember hearing a guy talk almost 17 years ago. It was the very first training seminar I attended out of the state of Texas. The guy talked, and the title of his talk was Failure is Not an Option. He was talking about our life. We only have one, so we better be planning this life to win while we are here. When we commit to our subconscious mind a serious plan of action, it goes to work to help us accomplish it. We have to know that we have no retreat. It reminds me of a story I read years ago. And the story goes like this. A long while ago, a great warrior faced a situation which made it necessary for him to make a decision which ensured his success on the battlefield. He was about to send his armies against a powerful foe whose men outnumbered his own. He loaded his soldiers into boats, sailed to the enemy's country, unloaded soldiers and equipment, then gave the order to burn the ships that had carried them. Addressing his men before the first battle, he said, "You see the boats going up in smoke? That means that we cannot leave these shores alive unless we win. We now have no choice. We win or we perish." Of course, they won. Every person who wins in any undertaking must be willing to burn his or her ships and cut all sources of retreat. We have to make our commitments clear to our subconscious mind. That's the only way the subconscious mind will receive the information we feed it.